Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Ilyas bin Muhammad Saad. I will present about South Korea. South Korea's unique geographic location, established economy and industry populace make an appealing investment and trade destination. Korea is not the Netherlands' sole East Asian export market. Dutch goods and service complement Korean interests. Next is the background of South Korea. South Korea occupies 100,210 square kilometers in the southern part of the Korean Peninsula. South Korea's official name is the Republic of Korea, ROK. This is because its government exerts control over all of Korea and does not recognize North Korea as a separate nation. The lives of Koreans are profoundly affected by Confucianism, a Chinese philosophy that promotes decency and respect. Electronics, telecommunication, automobile production, chemical, shipbuilding, and steel production are the main industry in the South Korea. Next, we move to does and don'ts doing business in South Korea in aspect of social culture. Here there are three factors in social culture. Among them are religion, language, and meeting and greeting. For religion, there are three most prominent faiths are Confucianism, Buddhism, and Christianity. Buddhism is the religion that has the greatest adherents in Korea, and the teaching of this religion have had a significant influence on Korean lifestyle, culture, and art. Next, language. The name of the Korean alphabet is referred to as Hangul. Korean is the official language of both South Korean and North Korean, despite some minor variation in the spelling, alphabet, and lexicon of the language from one country to the other. Linguists are of the opinion that the Korean language belongs to the family of language known as the Altai language, which have their roots in Northern Asia. Meeting and greeting. The use of a bow as a form of greeting is quite widespread in South Korea. The casual bow consists of tipping one's head slightly while keeping one's eyes closed and at times also bidding slightly from the waist. While meeting someone in a more casual setting or when going by someone of a higher standing, you should use this version of the greeting. For thus in social culture, the Korean people are quite jovial and love to have a good language with foreigners. Try to find things to praise about Korea. Perhaps this will restore your dignity. Know where you stand in the street social order to exist in Korea. Learn to identify those who are superior to you based on factors such as age, rank, and family name and show proper deference to them. For those, please don't compare the Japanese culture or language to that of Korea. Try recognizing Korea's uniqueness and how it stands out from other East Asian civilizations is important. Keep your cool and don't let your emotion get the best of you. You could end up looking foolish if you do that. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, I am Muhammad Akif Afifi and I will present to you about South Korea do's and don'ts in political aspect. The Republic of Korea's politics take place within the framework of a presidential representative democratic republic, with the president serving as the head of state and a multi-party system. Executive authority is exercised by the government, while legislative power is shared by the government and the National Assembly. Since 1948, the Constitution has gone through 5 significant amendments, each of which represent a new republic. The current 6th Republic began in 1987, with the most recent substantial constitutional reform. South Korea has developed as Asia's premier consolidated democracy. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit's 2020 study, South Korea is one of 5 complete democracies in Asia. However, the Korean Republic considers domestic politics to be behind in comparison to economic and social levels. People deserve a more effective representative democracy. The next generation is supposed to chart the way forward. This is due to their lack of ideological baggage and a more pragmatic embracing of liberal ideas such as individual and minority rights. There are several do's and don'ts in doing business at South Korea in political aspect. Firstly, about the exchange control. South Korea has liberalized foreign exchange regulation in accordance with OECD guidelines. An overseas corporation that invests under the Foreign Capital Promotion Act (FCPA) is allowed to remit a significant amount of its revenue as long as it presents an audit financial statement to its foreign exchange bank. Firms must produce a stock value report provided by a recognized securities company or the Korean Appraisal Board in order to withdraw funds. Foreign corporations that do not invest under the FCPA must repatriate cash through authorized foreign exchange institution after obtaining South Korea government authorization. Except in extreme cases, South Korea does not typically restrict the repatriation of cash. Other than that, do's and don'ts in investment and incentive rules. Foreign direct investment (FDI) is defined by the South Korean government as an investment made by a foreigner with the goal of creating a continuing economic relationship with a company in the Republic of Korea or a firm controlled by a citizen of the Republic of Korea. Acquisition of shares or ownership from a South Korean firm or business, long-term loans to Korean business, contribution to non-profit organizations, and other similar actions are examples of FDI. FDI is not the same as a portfolio investment which seeks to gain margins on stock trades for short-term profit. The Foreign Investment Promotion Act (FIPA) governs FDI in South Korea. The provision states that a foreigner may engage in investment activity in South Korea without restriction, unless the investment is deemed harmful to national security, public order, the health and well-being of South Korean nationals, or the environment of Korea, or unless it violates established social, moral, customs, or laws. The methods for carrying out FDI are detailed in this guide market entry section. It is eager to attract foreign investors and has made strenuous effort to reduce superfluous rules and create incentive for FDI. Last but not least, labeling and packaging. Commercial shipments entering South Korea must bear country of origin labeling. Additional labeling and marking requirements for certain products, such as medications and food, are addressed by rules from the South Korea government agencies in charge of these things, except for country of origins market that must be shown during custom clearance. Korean language labels can be put locally on items in the bound area, either before or after clearance. The Korean Food and Drug Administration is in charge of developing and enforcing Korean labeling for food items other than animals. These are governed by the Ministry of Food, Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, which also has its own set of rules for agricultural product country of origin labeling. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I'll be presenting the economy side for South Korea. South Korea is noteworthy for transforming its economy from an undeveloped to a developed high-income country in a few generations. This economic expansion has been dubbed the miracle of the Han, and it has enabled the country to join the OECD and the G20. Following the Great Recession, South Korea remains one of the world's fastest growing developed countries. The country's high technology boom and economic progress have been sustainably fueled by South Korea's education system and the creation of a motivated, educated citizenry. To strengthen its economy, South Korea started to adopt an export-focused economic strategy. South Korea ranked as the 8th largest exporter and 9th largest importer globally in 2019. Following by that, manufacturers in South Korea envisage a shift in future production plans toward high-tech sectors in 1990. Planning sessions on the manufacture of products such novel materials, mechatronics including industrial robotics engineering, microelectronics, fine chemistry, and aerospace were held in June 1989 by panels of government officials, academics, and business executives. However, this change in focus did not result in an instant fall in the heavy sectors that had dominated the economy in the 1980s, such as ship and automotive manufacture. The do's and don'ts in economy of South Korea. Building relationships is a do. Developing relationships is a crucial component of conducting business in Korea. Relationships are formed via unstructured social interactions, which typically include a lot of eating and drinking. Such events also provide both parties the chance to talk business in a more casual and welcoming setting, including over dinner. The don't is be too pushy, be patient and kind, but tough, as Korean business people are skilled negotiators. Don't push too hard and try to maintain the highest level of dignity. Expect a pricing war, but don't be quick to give in, because Koreans are tenacious and respect others for having this attribute. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
As a conclusion, South Korea is a good place to do business because of many good things at there. South Korea has strong social culture, economic and political values that are different from those in the United States, but they are easy to adapt when we want to opening our business there. Since the turn of the century, an increasing number of foreigners and foreign firms have conducted business with Koreans and non-Korean enterprise, as the excellent success of several Korean companies has made them key participants on global markets. As more foreigners and foreign firms engage in business with Korea and non-Korean companies, they may have various challenges in conducting everyday business with Korean and non-Korean business people due to different expectations, habits, and attitudes at each level of the transition. The majority of these distinctions stem from cultural variation between Korea and other nations. In political, the system of South Korea politics is democratic, where business did not strict rules to open business at there. The regulations and order of the product and services are mostly open, but must still respect the culture and people at South Korea. That's all from us. Thank you for listening.